Today's breaking financial and political story. The Department of Justice has launched a criminal investigation into Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, a development that many economists and former policymakers are calling unprecedented. What's behind it, and why it matters for the U.S. economy and central bank independence? Let's break it down. The investigation stems from Powell's June testimony before Congress, where he discussed a multi-year, $2.5 billion renovation of the Federal Reserve's Washington headquarters. Federal prosecutors are reviewing whether Powell made false or misleading statements about that project, a probe authorized by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Washington, D.C. late last year. The DOJ has served grand jury subpoenas to the Fed and threatened possible criminal charges, a rare escalation when it comes to central bank leadership. Powell has strongly denied wrongdoing. In videos and statements, he said the threat of criminal charges is not about renovation details, but a consequence of his refusal to bow to political pressure, specifically, pressure to cut interest rates more aggressively than the Fed's economic data justified. This investigation comes amid long-running tensions between the Fed and President Trump, who has publicly criticized Powell for maintaining higher interest rates. Trump even suggested he might consider removing Powell for not lowering rates sooner, though legal protections make firing a Fed chair very difficult. Critics of the DOJ, including former Fed chairs and lawmakers from both parties, warn it could undermine the independence of the central bank, a cornerstone of U.S. economic policy that's intended to separate monetary decision-making from short-term political influence. This matters because the Federal Reserve's independence is key to how the U.S. manages inflation, employment, and long-term growth. If leaders of the Fed face criminal threats tied to policy disagreements, like interest rates, it could make the institution more susceptible to political influence. Markets have already reacted. The U.S. dollar weakened, investors sought safe haven assets like gold, and stock futures wavered. Analysts say confidence in monetary policy could be shaken if the Fed's decisions are seen as subject to political retaliation rather than economic data. In short, the DOJ's criminal investigation into Jerome Powell is about more than a building renovation. It's about how independent the Fed will remain amid political pressure. That could have long-term implications for inflation, interest rates, markets, and how the U.S. economic system functions. We'll keep tracking developments as they unfold. Check out the articles. Thanks for watching. I'm Zane.